this is the another concept, that is inclusion. Now, when we talk about cultural diversity, you have you have to keep in mind one thing, that whenever we'll talk about diversity, you should focus on the benefits, right? Even being an educator, we should teach a student that consider these diversity as an asset, not as a barrier. Because in a country like India, where there's a huge diversity, and if I say that we can eliminate the diversity, that is not practically possible, right? So when we talk about cultural diversity, try to recognize and respect the unique cultural backgrounds and traditions that students bring to the classroom. Then, linguistic diversity involve the presence of multiple languages and dialects among the students, because that is going to enrich the learning environment. Socioeconomic diversity for is specific. Kindly mute yourself. I would request the participant to mute yourself. Thank you. Socioeconomic diversity. Such kind of diversity pertains to a student coming from various economic backgrounds, influencing their experiences and perspectives. Right? Then diverse learning needs. In each and every class, there's a huge diversity on the basis of the learning needs. The caliber and capacity of each and every student is not same, right? So being an educator, try to include different learning abilities and styles, right? Opt for new educational strategies so that you can do justice with each and every student. As I said, that we should focus on the diversity and we should consider it as an asset. Is there any benefits of having a diverse education environment? Definitely yes, because it is going to enhance your learning experiences. When there will be a diverse perspectives in a class, it will lead to a richer discussions. It will foster a deeper understanding of the subject matter, and definitely it will promote a critical thinking among the students, right? Even students will learn n number of new different cultures directly from their peers, and through which they will able to promote mutual respect and social cohesion among each other. Then, preparation for a global workforce. Students will develop skills to work effectively and efficiently in increasingly globalized industries. They will get an exposure to diverse classmates, right? Then increase creativity and problem solving skills. When there is a blend of diverse views, that will lead to more creative and comprehensive solution to the problems. When students will interact with people from different backgrounds, that will stimulate out of the box thinking, means there will be an innovative thinking will be there, right? So always consider the diversity as an strength. Emphasize that embracing diversity is not just a necessity, but it is a significant strength which will enhance educational outcomes. Even it will prepare students for a successful and inclusive future. Right? And this inclusive education is based on this simple phenomena. right? And now, what is that specific phenomena? That it is based on the acceptance. It is based on the principle of acceptance and inclusion of all the students without any kind of discrimination or the differences. Students should see their differences as an asset, not as a barrier to the success. Right? This inclusive education is important. Definitely, yes. Why? See, right to education is our fundamental right. Right? If you see the Constitution of India, in Article 22A of the Constitution, which specifically talks about right to an education. So, inclusive education is rooted in the right to education for all. Here, we are advocating for equal opportunity for all these students, irrespective of their backgrounds. And this approach supports the dismantling of barriers to learning and participation. And even it will help in combating the discriminations. And if we're able to combat the discriminations, we'll promote an educational culture of respect and belongingness. Right? Then equality. By adapting the learning environment so that it responds to the diversity of students around them. Inclusive education upholds the value of equality among all the students. Right? Because it will ensure that each student has an equal chance to succeed through customized teaching strategies, curriculum, assessment methods, right? Economic efficiency, educating students inclusively is going to enhance their potential to become the productive member of the society. And if they will become a productive member of the society, they will directly contribute to what? They will directly contribute to the economic development of the country. Right? And there are substantial evidences that inclusive education results in better social and economic outcomes for all. First thing. Second, you will see with the help of an inclusive education, we'll able to reduce the dropout rates. Gradually, employment rates will increase, right? And very important, we'll able to foster a more inclusive society. Right? Then community impact. Inclusive education fosters a sense of community and belongingness, and that is going to help us in building the social cohesion. And this is very important in a diverse society like India, because it will prepare all students for adult life in an inclusive society in which people from different backgrounds with different abilities live and work together. Right? Now, this was the first aspect of our today's session. Today, in the second session, second part of this session, we will specifically focus on supporting individual students. Right? And that is a critical component of the NEP, which aims to personalize the education. Right? And this approach recognizes that each student is unique and requires specific support to thrive academically and personally. Right? So this specific slide only talks about that what all aspects we are going to cover in the second part. And then we'll discuss it in detail. The first is mentoring of students, right? So I would just like to ask you, what is mentoring? Is providing an academic guidance is a mentoring, or it is something else or more than that? How you will define the mentoring? Is there anyone? आप सब academicians हैं, टीचर्स हैं, मेंटोर होंगे, तो आप मेंटोरिंग को कैसे डिफाइन करते हैं? हाउ यू विल डिफाइन इट? Whether merely providing an academic guidance is a mentoring, or it is something else? Anyone who would like to answer? Fine. See, mentoring is more than just academic guidance. It is about inspiring and supporting students to excel beyond the classroom walls. Means we are focusing on what? We are focusing on the holistic development of the student. And NAP even focuses on the holistic development of the student. Right? Second, we'll explore how structured mentor-mentee system can be developed and implemented effectively within our schools. Right? Then third aspect, what we'll be covering is building the rapport. We'll try to understand the dynamics of building strong, supportive relationship between mentor and mentees. We will discuss the approaches and benefits of remedial teaching, ensuring that all students can achieve their potential regardless of the starting point. And in last, we'll try to understand the importance of the positive attitude. Why fostering a positive attitude is crucial for both mentor and mentee. Right? We'll try to understand, because this positive attitude is definitely going to help both the parties, that is mentor and mentee, to overcome challenges and achieve success. Right? Now, mentoring. Right? Mentoring in education refers to a supportive learning relationship between a more experienced or more knowledgeable mentor and less experienced and less knowledgeable mentee. Right? Why I have used these words? More experienced, more knowledgeable mentor, less experienced, less knowledgeable mentee. Right? Because only teacher is not only the mentor. Mentor can be anyone who is having the more experience or more knowledge. To keep the ambit, I have used these words. Ambit wider. Right? What is the role of mentor here? Mentor provides guidance, share resources, offer emotional and social support to facilitate the personal and professional growth of the mentee. Right? There are different forms of mentoring, right? Such as faculty to student mentoring, peer mentoring, professional expert mentoring students. But the ambit or the target needs of each and every form of mentoring is different, right? Each form of mentoring helps students educational journey in a different way. And that's why we consider mentoring as a versatile educational tool which plays a crucial role in nurturing the students, academic as well as the professional growth. Right? Basically, it involves guidance, support, encouragement, what is provided by a more knowledgeable or experienced person to the less experienced learner. Right? So, such as peer mentoring, the first form. Now, what it is? Peer mentoring basically involves student mentoring each other, right? Typically, with the mentor being slightly older or more experienced student within the same institution, right? And this can be organized within the same academic program or across different years. But the question is that where such form of mentoring is going to help, right? Peer mentors often help with study skills, time management, understanding course material, right? Then, even if some new student has joined the school or a college, then peer mentoring is going to help in the social and emotional adjustment of the new, or you can say some younger students. Peer do serve as a role model because seeing their peer success, the other students are going to get motivated. That's why I always say to an educators, discuss n number of tangible examples in a class that what they can achieve. Never underestimate the students. Clear? Then another form is faculty to student mentoring. Now, this form of mentoring involves faculty members, teachers, professors who will directly mentor the students. And faculty to student mentoring can be in both the ways, formal as well as informal. How informal? When it is done through the structured framework or through the structured program. How in informal way? By developing through regular interactions in academic settings, right? So now, where such form of mentoring is going to help, or you can say that what are the target needs of faculty to student mentoring? Such form of mentoring helps in the career guidance. Faculty mentor provide advice on academic pathways, career options, and further studies. Then, particularly in higher education, faculty mentors guide students through their research projects, thesis work, publication. They're just going to work. And faculty mentor can offer support on personal development, helping students in navigating the challenges which are adversely affecting their academic life. Yeah. Then, professional expert mentoring students. Professional experts from various industries mentor students, but that is completely done through a formal programs which are arranged by an educational institutions. And these mentors are not typically the part of your school staff. They are professionals in fields related to the student's area of study. So, such form of mentoring offers student a real world perspective on working uh, in specific sectors, which is valuable for their career planning. Then skill development, because professional expert mentoring gives them the hands-on training, right? It focuses on practical skills and knowledge that is directly applicable in professional settings. And even such form of mentoring connects students with the professionals in the industry, which can lead to internships, job opportunities, and career planning. Right? What you have to keep in mind here, that whenever you opt for the mentoring or you go for the structured program, one thing should be kept in mind, that all forms of mentoring should align with the educational institution's broader objective. Institutional objective cannot be ignored. Now, what can be the generalized institutional objective? Such as student retention, enhancing employability, fostering a sense of community, and number of things can be there. So, effective mentoring programs are adaptable, reflecting the changing needs of students as they progress through their educational pathways. Right? So each form of mentoring serves distinct purpose and addresses different stages of students' educational and personal development. Right? So by leveraging peer mentors, faculty, professional expert, educational institution can provide a holistic support system that nurtures students academically, professionally, as well as personally. And what is the primary goal of mentoring? To enhance academic performance, increase retention and graduation rates, develop competent, confident, and employable graduates. Right? Then, whether mentoring helps in promoting the inclusivity and diversity or not. Right? Mentoring helps students from diverse background feel valued, understood within an educational community. Right? And this is very crucial for the active participation and integration of the student. Then addressing unique challenges. Being a mentor, sometimes you need to customize your way of support to address the specific cultural, educational, or socio-economic challenge faced by the men. Because one size fit to all will not suit here. One approach fit to all will not work here. Right? Then role model. Mentors serve as role model because they provide a roadmap for navigating the academic environment, which can be particularly empowering for students from underrepresented or disadvantaged groups. Right? But the question is whether NAP has given any recommendation in respect to the mentorship program. Definitely, yes. NAP emphasizes on the establishment of structured mentorship program within education institution to systematically support each and every student. This includes integrating mentoring into curriculum and providing training to the mentors. Right? Then quality, sorry, quality and accessibility. The policy calls for high quality mentorship, which is accessible to all students, regardless of their background. But here, special attention should be given to ensure that marginalized and differently able students should receive adequate mentoring support. Right? Then continuous evaluation and adaptation. It's not like that once you have guided someone and that will serve the thing. No, consistency is needed. Right? Consistency till the goal is not achieved, till you have not attained your objective. Right? So NAP recommends assessment of mentorship program to ensure that the program is effective and meeting the evolving needs of students. But the question is how that evaluation will be done. We have simple mechanism for that, that is a feedback mechanism that should be implemented to adapt and refine the mentoring practices. Then building professional capacities, right? Now, as we are talking about mentors here, NAP encourages continuous professional development for mentors so that we can enhance their mentoring skills, understand their mentees' diverse backgrounds, stay updated with the latest educational practices and technologies. Right? And that's why mentoring is a crucial tool for enhancing students' diversity, fostering inclusive education, right? And it will help institution in cultivating an educational environment which supports the growth and success of each and every student without any kind of discrimination or arbitrary behavior. Right? Now, next is in respect to the establishing a mentor-mentee system. I have divided into two parts. First, we'll talk about certain components, right, which are required for mentor-mentee system, and then we'll talk about that how and what all steps need to be taken to implement a mentor-mentee system in education institution. Right? Just give me a second to have a water, then we'll continue. First of all, what are the key components of an effective mentor-mentee system? Right? We should have a structured framework. So, is there anyone who will define the structured framework, or what do you understand by the structured framework? Is there anyone who will define the structured framework?
मैं अपनी फाइल ऑलरेडी जमा कराया है डीएचएम के देते
I would request Ms. Soumya to mute yourself. Ms. Soumya, kindly mute yourself. Give me a second to
तो फिर वो
remove.
डायरेक्ट भी तो जमा करवाया था जिस डीएचएम
See, when we're talking about the structured framework, now what is well-defined structure? Where the roles and responsibilities of both the parties, who mentor and mentees, are clearly defined. Right? Second, which includes clear objectives, expected outcomes, and the duration of the mentorship program. If all these aspects are clear, you can say that that is a well-defined structure, right? Or it is a structured framework. Then matching process. You cannot randomly appoint someone as a mentor to the mentee. Effective matching of mentor and mentee should be done after evaluating certain factors, right? Such as shared interest, career goals, educational needs. After evaluating these factors, if you are appointing someone as a mentor to the mentee, you will see that it is going to enhance the compatibility and the potential for successful outcome. Then training for mentors. Providing comprehensive training for mentors to equip them with the necessary skills and knowledge to support mentees effectively. Right? So, this training should cover communication skills, sensitivity training, methods to identify and address the specific needs of the mentee. Yeah. Then continuous support and monitoring. As I said earlier, this that consistency should be there, right? So regular check-ins and support from the institution to ensure the mentor-mentee relationship is productive. This includes providing resources, facilitating feedback sessions, and monitoring the progress through the periodic assessment. Right? So these are the certain key elements which are needed. Okay? Now, what steps need to be taken in respect to it? The first is establish clear goals for the mentorship program, right? But align them with the educational objectives, education institutions' broader objectives. Determine the scope, including which student group will be targeted, what outcomes are expected. Right? Next is develop mentor pool. When I'm saying pool, it means a list here. Right? So identify the potential mentors among faculty, alumni, senior students, right? To ensure a diverse mentor pool is there. If you are having a diverse mentor pool, then you will able to cater to the various needs of the mentees. Okay. Then next is train mentors. Right? Conduct training sessions to prepare mentor for their roles. Focus on building effective, uh, you can say effective communication, empathy, and mentoring skills. Then match mentor and mentees. Use a systematic approach to match mentor and mentees based on the certain criteria which we have talked earlier, such as their interests, career goals, right? So that we'll able to ensure compatibility and maximize the impact of the mentoring. And that is only the our main purpose. Right? Then officially start the program, right? But when you are officially starting the mentorship program with an introductory session, you one thing you have to keep in mind that being a mentor, you are not going to judge the mentee at any period of time. You should not be judgmental. And in an introductory session, allow mentor and mentee to meet and set the initial expectations from that specific program. Then regularly monitor the progress of the mentor mentee relationship and evaluate the impact of the program. Right? And evaluation can be done with the help of feedback mechanism. We have a simple tool that is the feedback mechanism. Right? Then adjust the program as necessary based on the feedback and outcomes received. Then definitely when you're going to start something new, you are going to face certain challenges in setting up a mentor mentee system. Then see, there can be some specialized challenge, but that can be in respect to the specific circumstances. But we'll talk about certain general challenges what we can face while setting up a mentor mentee system. Okay? First, ensuring commitment. Mentor and mentee may have a different level of commitment. And if they're having a different level of commitment, they are not going to reach to the conclusion or they will not able to achieve their objective, right? So what kind of solution do we have for that there is a need to set the clear expectations and formal agreements to ensure sustained engagement. Then matching challenge can be the another challenge. Difficulty in matching mentor-mentee effectively can lead to unproductive relationship, right? So use a comprehensive matching process that consider multiple factors such as interest, career goals, personalities, right? And allow for rematching if the initial pairing is not successful, right? Then resource constraint, limited resources can affect the quality and reach of the mentorship program, right? For that, NAP has only given us the solution because NAP is talking about the technology, right? So leverage technology to facilitate the virtual mentorship sessions, right? Seek partnerships with industry professionals, alumni to expand the mentor pool with significant financial investment. Okay. Then measuring impact. Difficulty in assessing the effectiveness of the mentorship program. So, for that, we need to develop clear metrics, regular evaluation intervals to measure progress and the impact. Use feedback from both mentors and mentees to continually refine the program. Right? So, by addressing all these components and challenges, education institution can effectively and efficiently implement a mentor-mentee system which supports the individual development of students. Even it will foster an environment of growth, learning, and that is aligned with the goal of NAP. Now, repo. See, repo between mentor and mentee refers to a positive, trusting relationship, right? See, first of all, this mentorship is based on the fiduciary relationship. And now, what is fiduciary relationship? Relationship which is based on trust, right? So, repo refers to a positive, trusting relationship because if there will be a positive and trusting relationship, then only it will facilitate open communication. It will enhance the mutual understanding. Otherwise, not. So, establishing strong repo is very crucial for the effectiveness of any mentoring relationship. It helps in providing personalized support and foster a safe environment where mentee feel encouraged and express their concerns and aspirations. Right? But being a mentor, what all techniques and strategies we can opt to build strong rapport? The first is active listener. Mentors should practice active listening. When I'm saying active listening, it does not mean just hearing the words, right? But here means that you have to show genuine interest in the mentee's thought and feelings, the emotions and intention behind those words. Okay? Then empathy. Demonstrating empathy involves understanding and sharing the feeling of another person, which helps in building a deeper connection and a trust. Consistency. Regular, predictable meetings will help establish reliability and structure because if you met that mentee once, you guided her once, and now there is no connection or no contact between the mentor and mentee, then it will not work because reliability will not be there. Then personalized interaction. Being a mentor, you have to customize your approach of mentoring to fit the unique needs and personalities of the mentee. Right? This might involve that sometimes there's a need to adjust communication styles, feedback methods, and the pace of mentoring sessions. Then setting mutual goals. Work together to set achievable goals because mentoring is a collaborative process. Both mentor and mentee has to align on a common objective. Then only you will able to attain. Then positive reinforcement. Encourage and celebrate small successes so that you can build confidence and motivation in the mentee. Right? So, is there any impact of good repo on student outcome or not? Definitely yes. Students with mentor who they feel close to are more likely to perform well academically. Why? Due to personalized guidance and increased motivation. Then emotional and social benefit. Strong repo can lead to greater emotional stability. It will reduce anxiety and a better ability to cope with academic and social pressures. Right? Then long term benefits will be there. Sometimes such few relations can last beyond the educational settings, providing ongoing professional and personal support. But when there will be a trust, then only such relationship can last beyond the educational settings, right? So by focusing on these aspects, we can build a strong mentor-mentee repo because that will enhance the mentoring experience and it will lead to a better educational and personal outcomes for students, right? Next is remedial teaching strategies. Before moving to the remedial teaching strategies, we'll try to understand that what is remedial teaching, right? So there are two concepts. The first, what student knows, another, what they are expected to know. And there is a huge gap between these two. What student know, what they are expected to know. And remedial teaching strategies are basically an instructional program which helps in building the gap between what students know and what they are expected. Right? It focuses on providing additional support to students who they are struggling to meet the standard academic levels in various subjects. Right? And such approach is very important in a diverse classrooms where students may have disparate educational backgrounds, learning disabilities, or other challenges which are affecting their learning process. So, remedial teaching ensures that all students have access to the resources and support they need to succeed academically, right? While promoting equity within the education system. But now, what all strategy or the teaching methods are with us? Right? Right now, we have understood that what is remedial teaching. Now, what all methods and strategies we are having,
इसको वाला चला ले
right?
इनका
So,
का नहीं ऐसे ही चल पड़ेगा कैसे
Right? So first is diagnostic teaching, right? When you go to doctor, whether doctor directly writes a prescription to you? No. What doctor will do? Doctor will diagnose the problem first, right? Diagnosis. Same process we have to follow being an academician. But now the question is that doctor is having n number of tests to identify the problem. What we'll do? We do have a simple test, that is internal assessments. Right? Internal assessments are going to help you. Right? Begin with identifying the specific learning gaps and difficulties. Right? And academicians use assessments to determine individual students' needs and then customize your instructional approaches accordingly. Right? Then differentiated instructions. Teachers create various paths to learning so that each student can learn in a manner that suits them best. Right? This may include various assessments, adapted equipments, different teaching strategies. Right? Then use of technology. Incorporating educational technology such as interactive softwares, online resources, which reinforce learning content and engage student in different ways. We always talk about the cons of technology. There are certain benefit and pros also. So technology can offer personalized learning experience, which is very important for a remedial education. Then peer tutoring. Involve pairing or grouping students together for tutoring session. And this method basically leverages peer interactions to assist underperforming students while reinforcing the tutor's mastery of the subject. Then small group sessions, conduct sessions with small group of students, allow for more direct interaction and personalized feedback for the teacher. And such kind of sessions can be less intimidating, more supportive for student who need some extra help. I will just take a simple hypothetical situation so that remedial teaching is clear to you. Supposingly, there is some urban public school in which, first of all, we have diagnosed the problem that high percentage of students are performing below grade level in physics, right? Okay. Now, problem has been diagnosed. Now, what kind of intervention is needed? That introduction of comprehensive after school remedial program should be there, which will feature diagnostic assessment, technology assisted learning module, and significant once we have done that for a particular period of time, reasonable period of time, you are going to observe significant improvement in physics score within one academic year. You will even see that the confidence of the student has been increased. Higher engagement levels are there. They are actively participating. Right? Now, fostering positive attitudinal development. Positive attitude is very crucial in education because it enhances motivation, engagement, and persistence, which are essential for academic success. And the students with a positive outlook are more likely to embrace challenges, persist in the face of difficulties, and view failure as an opportunities to learn. Right? Then emotional and psychological health. you will see that positive attitude contributes toward better stress management, lower the rate of depression, and overall improvement in the mental health, right? And this can significantly affect students' ability to perform academically well. Then, developing positive attitude from the school time is definitely going to help, right? Because if we set up groundwork from the school time, that is going to work for the lifelong success. It will influence career trajectories, that personal relationships, and the ability to adapt to change. Okay? Now, key strategies for what? For mentors to cultivate this positivity and resilience in students. Okay? First of all, mentor can give n number of examples by demonstrating a positive outlook, resilience in overcoming the personal challenges, right? And a persistent effort towards the goal. Second, regularly recognize students' efforts and achievement, no matter how small that is. But if you're going to recognize that small effort or achievement, it will reinforce positive behavior. It will boost the self esteem, right? And encouragement should focus on efforts rather than just outcome, right? Then building growth mindset. Teach student to have a positive growth mindset by emphasizing that the abilities and intelligence can be developed with effort, learning, and persistence. These three things are very important. And try to challenge the negative self talk, reframe the setbacks as a learning opportunity. Then, resilience training workshop. So, what is resilience? Resigning Resilience skills basically include stress management skill, goal setting, how to handle the failure, right? And such skills help student in managing their academic as well as personal challenges effectively and efficiently. Okay? Give me a second, water. Hmm. Next is interactive discussion on real life scenarios can be done where positive attitude impacted student achievement, because that will motivate the other students and it will boost their self esteem. And this interaction can be done in three ways: with the help of case study presentation, with the help of group discussion, or sharing sessions. Now, student is with us for a very limited period of time, that is 9 to 5 or 9 to 3, whatever your institution timing is, right? So what is our primary goal? To complete our course. So way to get time for all these things, right? Try to integrate mentoring in your daily activities. How? First of all, schedule mentor hours. Designate specific time during the week as a mentor hour, right? Where student can meet their mentor. But keep in mind that mentor hours should be less intensive periods, such as after lunch or the last period of the day, right? Then building mentoring in classroom activities. Regularly invite models from various professions to speak in classroom. Link these sessions with career guidance and real world experience of learning, right? So implement a peer mentoring system where older student mentor younger one. What will happen with it? It will promote leadership and supportive school culture. Then mentoring across the curriculum, right? Use projects that require mentorship roles, where mentor help in guiding research, ideation, or in the execution phase. Okay. Then encourage mentors to help student in linking concepts through different subjects, embrace integrative thinking and learning. Right. Mentors should provide structure feedback on both academic as well as extracurricular activities, because that will help student in getting the reflection over their learning and personal growth. Give them some group activity, give them some hypothetical situation to solve, but always keep in mind that whenever you are giving some group activity, try to form group yourself. Means faculties or teachers should form the group. Don't leave it on the student. Otherwise, what student is going to do? Student is going to choose their own friends with whom they are comfortable. Then they are not going. There will be no learning in that activity. Group should consist of average, below average, outstanding performer. Right? There should be a diversity in the group. Right? Once the task has been given or the time period has been specified, after that allow each group a few minutes to present their plan to the entire audience. Then encourage participants to give the feedback. Now I'm changing, not feedback, constructive feedback on each plan. And this constructive feedback is based on or focus on feasibility, creativity, and comprehensiveness. Right? And once the feedback has been received, ask with that particular group only that how the plan could be adjusted or improved based on the feedback received. With this, they will have a feeling of inclusivity. They will feel inclusive. They will not feel isolated, and they will participate more actively, right, in the class. That's it. Thank you from my side. Is there any question or any doubt they may ask? The first session is done. That is in respect to the mentor mentee. Is there anyone who would like to say anything or they will ask something? No one is there? At least say yes or no. Fine. Then we'll take a break of 5 minutes or a 10 minutes. Then we'll start with the next session. Fine. We'll meet after 10 minutes to start with the next session. You can have a break of 10 minutes.
अरे भया मी ते दीड सांगत भाड्याचं बोललो व्हिडिओ चालू कोण होतं मला आठवण नाही रे मी म्हणतो माझ्या वर्षाचं
लाईव्ह काय दिसणार पण येत हा बंद झाल्यावर दिसते रे हे काय? बोलताना मी आपणच बोलतो आपलाच माहिती आहे एकदम बरोबर
Yes, ma'am, I have made you a co-host. You can start the lecture.
Okay, thank you, sir. So now we are moving to the second lecture of the same theme, that is the NAP vision in or how NAP is helping in minimizing or bridging the achievement gap in the students. Right. So NAP, a pathway to bridge achievements gap. So what is the objective of today's this second session? The objective is to understand the role of teachers in minimizing achievement gap, that is also through the inclusive education practices. Right? So this session will focus on the critical role of teachers in fostering an inclusive educational environment which helps in bridging the achievement gaps. So today we'll explore how Dedicated educators can implement practices that cater to the diverse needs of their students, ultimately contributing to what? Contributing to a more equitable and effective learning atmosphere. Right? So, NAP 2020 brought a landmark shift in educational paradigm because it is aiming at a holistic overhaul of the existing system to make it more inclusive and responsive to the need of 21st century learners demographic. We have to align with the need of an hour, that is 21st century. Right? And if you see that NAP ethos are focused, or it is putting more emphasis on embracing the diversity and ensuring inclusivity in educational setting across the country. Right? As it is always says that teachers are on the front line, right? They are tasked with adapting teaching methods to accommodate diverse learning styles and needs, right? So this includes employing differentiated instruction strategies. They have to ensure that all students, regardless of their learning abilities, socioeconomic backgrounds, can access quality education. So, teachers here play a very crucial role as the primary implementers of the NAP's vision. They play the role of catalyst. As facilitators of learning and guides within the classrooms, teachers are pivotal in bringing about the significant changes envisioned in NAP. So, their role are multifaceted, right? Even the responsibility of fostering an environment that celebrate cultural, linguistic, uh, and individual diversity falls heavily on the teacher. Right? Even this includes creating an inclusive classroom atmosphere which respects and highlights diverse backgrounds and perspectives, helping students in understanding and appreciating the differences, right? So teachers are also the change agent, basically, if you see, right? Who advocates for inclusive policies and practices within their schools or colleges. So by supporting the implementation of NAP's objective, teachers help in shaping the educational landscape to be more equitable. Then NAP emphasizes on the continuous professional development of teachers to equip them with the necessary skills to implement its inclusive and diverse educational model effectively and efficiently, right? So teachers are not just educators, but they are crucial advocates and the implementers of more inclusive and diverse educational system, right? Now, physical differences, there may be a physical differences in the class, right? Now, what are those differences? How those differences affect, right? When we are talking about the diversity in students, you should understand, being an educator, you should understand the multidimensional learner. A classroom of today is a microcosm of society, vibrant, complex, diverse. No two learners are alike, and each brings a unique combination of experiences, abilities, challenges, and strengths. Right? So, recognizing and respecting this diversity is central to the philosophy of inclusive education and lies at the heart of the lab. Right? So, student diversity must not be perceived as a hurdle to be overcome, but rather as a powerful resource to enrich the learning environment. Right? So, student diversity even encompasses several dimensions: physical, cognitive, social, emotional differences, right? So, educators here need to understand these areas to ensure that teaching strategies are inclusive, empathic, and effective. So, physical diversity refers to differences in students' physical abilities, which may arise from congenital conditions, accidents, chronic illnesses, neurological impairment, right? For an example, visual impairment, hearing loss, mobility challenge, speech difficulties, and any other motor disabilities. So, what kind of challenges such kind of students face in the learning environment? Inaccessible classroom or washrooms, inability to participate in physical education or excursions, difficulty in writing, seeing board content, or hearing instructions, social exclusion or stigma from peers, right? So NAP basically calls for an education system that is sensitive to the needs of children with disabilities, such as UDL, that is Universal Design for Learning. Designing infrastructure and curriculum that works for all learner is important. Then assistive technologies should be there: braille material, screen reader, hearing aids, sign language interpreters, adaptive furniture, right? Then barrier free environment: ramp, elevators, accessible toilets, tactile flooring, large font signage. Okay? Then teachers must be trained to support students with physical needs without discrimination or lower the expectation of the student. Cognitive differences, or you can say cognitive diversity. Cognitive diversity refers to the variation in how students perceive, process, and retain information. It includes differences in intellectual functioning, memory, attention span, problem solving abilities, and learning style. Right? So, such students with cognitive differences do face certain challenges in their learning environment, such as difficulty in understanding abstract concepts, slower reading or writing speed, trouble with the concentration or multi-step instructions, then inadequate assessment systems that ignore their learning style, right? So here NAP emphasizes on differentiated instructions, where teaching is customized to meet the various intellectual and learning needs of the student, such as individualized educational plans for children with special learning needs, multi-sensory teaching methods, use of audio, visual, tactile, kinesthetic tools, right? Assessment flexibility, oral exams, extended time, project-based assessments, resource rooms with special educators to provide remedial support, right? So NAP promotes early identification of learning challenges and intervention strategies within educational institution to prevent long-term academic gap. Then social diversity, building culturally responsive classrooms. Social diversity includes differences stemming from students' socioeconomic status, caste, religion, ethnicity, language, family background, geographical locations such as urban, rural, tribal, right? And number of things are there. So Even the social diversity includes migrant children, children of single parents, children from conflict affected regions, right? So students from socially marginalized background face certain challenges. First, face language barrier in the classroom because that is dominated by the majority language. Second, experience exclusion or discrimination based on caste or religion, right? Then struggle with irregular attendance due to economic pressures, lack of confidence and peer support, right? So here NAP invasions, school education institution as spaces where equity and social justice should be practiced. Now see, mother tongue based multilingual education should be there. Promote foundational learning in students' home language or the mother tongue. Then culturally responsive pedagogy, incorporating examples, stories, role models from all the communities, bridging courses and peer support programs for students from disadvantaged sections, midday meal scheme, free textbook to elevate economic barriers so that we can remove all these barriers. So teacher basically must be sensitized to avoid unconscious biases and instead foster a climate of empathy, respect, and cooperation among students. Then, emotional diversity. Emotional diversity involves the range of emotional experiences, right? What student bring to the classroom, okay? Now, it can be anxiety, stress, depression, low self-esteem, family-related trauma, peer pressure, bullying, identity struggle, and number of such things can be there, right? So, emotional distress can significantly impede student capacity to learn. A child struggling with unaddressed emotions may withdraw from the participation, exhibit disruptive behavior, right? Fail to submit assignments or perform poorly in the assessments, right? Face increased dropout rates, right? So here NAP recognizes the growing need for psychosocial support system in school, right? So first, school counselors and wellness programs because that will provide safe space to express the emotions, right? Second, teaching integration of life skills education means you should teach them the empathies, how to manage the stress, self uh, awareness, right? Then third is mindfulness and art based interventions, encouraging emotional expressions and reflections. Mentorship model, building mentor mentee relationship to foster trust and guidance. So, moreover, classroom teachers must be equipped to detect signs of emotional distress and refer the case for timely intervention. Right? So, the recognition of physical, cognitive, social, and emotional diversity is the foundational to the success of the inclusive education because each child learns differently, not because of deficits, but due to differences that require understanding and accommodation. Right? So, NAP 2020 invites educators, administrators, and policymakers to rethink traditional notion of normalcy and move towards pluralistic, student-centered model of education. So, a truly inclusive classroom does not merely accept the diversity, it celebrates it, leverages it, and transforms it into collective growth and excellence. Right? Now, analyzing the achievement gap. Right? Achievement gap basically refers to the disparities in the academic performance between group of students, right? And it often observed through grades, standardized test scores, course selections, dropout rates, college completion rates, right? And these gaps are typically between students of different genders, racial, ethnic backgrounds, socioeconomic status, and other demographic distinctions, right? So, for an example, data from a national assessment might show that students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds score significantly lower in mathematics and literacy skills compared to the higher income peers, right? So the concept of achievement gap, as we have seen, it refers to the persistent disparities in academic performances or educational attainment among different group of students, right? So achievement gap are typically measured with the help of certain indicators such as literacy and numeracy level, dropouts, retention rates, enrollment in higher education, performance in standardized assessments, transition rates from one stage to the another. For an example, primary to the secondary, right? Now, what are the root causes behind the achievement gap, if you see, right? There are a nuanced analysis which reveals that achievement gaps are not only educational, but they are embedded in broader social economic structures, right? So key contributing factors, right, includes economic disparity. Students from low economic households, right, they will get affected, often lack access to basic educational materials, nutrition, food, digital resources, and academic supports. And this economic disadvantage translates into poor attendance, low motivation, and high dropout rates. Then language and cultural barrier can be there, right? So children whose first language differs from the medium of instruction often struggle to comprehend lessons, leading to a widening performance gap. So NAP recognizes this and promotes mother tongue based multilingual education. Right? Social and economic gender. Patriarchal attitudes are there, early marriage concept, household responsibility, unsafe school environment, right? Disproportionately affect girls' educational trajectories. Boys too are impacted by social expectations to enter the workforce early in certain communities, right? Then disabilities and special needs. Children with physical or cognitive disability often face inadequate infrastructure, untrained teachers, and social stigma, contributing to their exclusion and underperformance.
Arora.
Right? Then, teacher bias and local expectations. Teachers may unconsciously carry prejudices which affects how they engage with students from the marginalized background. Generally, what happens, students who belong to the marginalized background, they feel isolated. Right? So, low expectations can demoralize student and inhibit academic growth. Even you will see that there is institutional and systematic gap also. Systematic failure in curriculum design, textbook content, examination pattern, right? All these things can affect. We have to analyze it, how it is working, right? Because it contribute to educational disparities. Traditional curricula often fail to reflect the life experiences of the marginalized students, and that's why they feel isolated. High stakes testing, rote learning methods further disadvantage those who lack conducive home learning environment. So all these things should be kept in mind. Okay? Just give me a second to have water. Mhm. So now teacher competency towards diversity and inclusion, right? NAP 2020 in is my presentation visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Actually, it's not visible to me on the screen, that's why. Okay, fine. So, NAP 2020 envisions a paradigm shift in the Indian educational system. That is from rote learning to holistic, inclusive, and learner centered education. Because, see, what was the traditional form of teaching? If you see, in that, student used to just cram the things, they used to rote memorize, ratification, right? But whether such form of teaching will work in the present era? No, right? Now we should focus on the practical aspect. Fine, this concept was taught by the teacher in the class. Now, how this concept is applicable on the given scenario, right? So, the center to this specific vision, the teachers who are the core stone of an educational reform should work in this specific direction. Right? NAP strongly emphasize on the need for enhanced teacher competencies that empower educators to recognize and respond to the various needs of diverse learners. Teacher must be equipped not just with academic knowledge but with pedagogical and interpersonal skills. Then only teacher will able to promote equity and excellence in every classroom. Otherwise not, right? So diversity in Indian classroom manifest in multiple dimensions, if you will see, right? Such as socioeconomic status, caste, religion, gender, disability, linguistic backgrounds, regional variations, learning styles, right? N number of things will be there. So with increasing urban migration and digital penetration, even rural and semi-urban classrooms are becoming more heterogeneous. So recognizing and valuing this diversity is very essential to foster inclusive education, right? And NAP defines education as an approach to ensure that all children, regardless of their personal and social characteristics, are provided equitable access to high quality learning. Right? Means teacher must be able to create inclusive environment that actively reduce learning gaps rather than exacerbate them. Right? Now, we'll talk about certain essential competencies for teachers that are very critical for addressing diversity and promoting the inclusivity. Right? The first is in respect to the pedagogical competency. Teachers must be adaptive of various teaching methodologies to meet diverse learning needs, such as visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or blended. Then, competency based learning should be there. NAP emphasizes on a shift from content heavy syllabi to competency based curricula. Means teachers should focus on developing conceptual understanding, critical thinking, and application skills, not just rote memorization. Right? Then integration of art, sports, experiential learning should be there. So inclusive classroom must engage learners through multiple entry points such as storytelling, drama, role play, sports, project based learning. Right? Then cultural and social sensitivity. Teachers need to be aware of implicit biases, whether caste, gender, language, ability, and consciously avoid favoritism, labeling, or exclusion. Right? Then acknowledging students' social and cultural context in lesson plans, classroom discussion is a key to relevance and engagement. You will see that there will be an, if classroom is a cultural responsive classroom, there will be an active participation of the students, right? Then gender sensitization. Teachers should actively dismantle gender stereotypes in content and pedagogy. Means they should encourage equal participation of all the gender, right? Then assessment literacy means teacher must be trained to use formative assessments, portfolios, peer and self assessment, observational tools instead of relying solely on the summative exams, right? Then accommodation for special needs. Competent teacher should understand how to adapt test and grading system for children with learning difficulties, because you have to ensure fairness in the evaluation, right? Social emotional competence can be there. Teachers should foster trusting relationship where students feel emotionally safe, respected, and understood, right? So discipline must be reformative, not punitive. Teachers should opt for restorative practices, conflict resolution techniques, and positive reinforcement to manage classrooms, right? Then mental health awareness should be there. Teacher should be able to identify the signs of stress, anxiety, or any kind of trauma in students, and then collaborate with the school counselors, college counselors, or professionals wherever it is required. Right? So NAP recognizes even the quality teachers' preparation is the foundation for achieving the inclusion. And that's why policy proposes several reforms in teacher education and professional development. Right? The, the first is structured training program. So, what is a structured training program when we talk about it? That is the first question. Right? Structured training program in which the outlines are clearly defined. There should not be any kind of biases involved in it. Yeah, just give me a second. Right. Structured training program. NAP recognizes the necessity for teacher training that specifically focuses on enhancing the competencies related to diversity and inclusion. And the policy provides a comprehensive framework for this, emphasizing on continuous professional development and support. Right? So, the structured training program, where training modules on cultural competence, differentiated instructions, inclusive assessment practices should be there, right? This structured training program can be conducted in the form of workshop, online courses, in-service training sessions, which are conducted by the skilled trainers, right? Then support for ongoing learners, right? Establishing a mentorship system where teachers can learn from experienced colleagues about effectively managing diverse classrooms. Right? So, provision of access to a rich repository of resources should be there. And this should include multimedia materials, case studies, which highlight successful diversity responsive teaching strategies. Then regular updates and upgrades, right? Regular updates to training curricula to include the latest research and innovation in education that respects or supports diversity and inclusion, right? Continuous evaluation of training effectiveness through feedback mechanism and adaptation of strategies as required. So, by fostering these competencies, teachers are better equipped to manage classroom diversity effectively and efficiently, right? So, we have to ensure that all students have the opportunity to learn in an environment that respects and value their individual backgrounds and abilities. And NEP also focuses on training and development, right? Training and development, and that is designed to support teachers in the critical aspect, promoting an educational atmosphere conducive to learning, growth for each and every student. NAP strategies for minimizing the achievement gap. The first is the policy measures. Right? We need laws, we need regulations, otherwise, we are not going to hear. Until and unless pressure is imposed, this is human tendency that we'll not hear. Right? So, NAP introduces several strategic policy measures which are specifically designed to address and minimize the achievement gaps, right? That stem from economic, social, cultural, and geographic disparities. Now, such as equitable resource allocation should be there, right? NAP mandates increased funding and resources to under resourced schools, ensuring that schools in disadvantaged regions should be equipped with the necessary tools, technologies, teaching staffs to provide quality education. Then, special education zones have been established in areas with significant educational backlogs and high socioeconomic disparities to provide intensive support and targeted educational programs. Then, curriculum standardization and flexibility. Implement a standardized curriculum that allow for adaptations reflecting local context and needs, means ensuring relevance and accessibility for all the students. Then teacher training and capacity building, extensive training programs for teachers to develop skills in inclusive pedagogies, multilingual teaching, and culturally responsive teaching methods. Right? Even the cadre of inclusion facilitators has been created within the districts to support teachers and education institutions in implementing inclusive practices effectively and efficiently, right? Then strengthening assessment systems, right? Revamping assessment system to focus more on students understanding and application of knowledge rather than rote memorization. Developing tools for regular formative assessments to monitor progress, provide immediate support wherever needed. Right? Then enhancing parental and community engagement, promoting greater involvement of parents and communities in school governance learning process will ensure that education respects and integrate local cultural norms and knowledge. Okay? Then focus on inclusive education should be there because that is a commitment to access. The NAP reiterates a strong commitment to inclusive education, emphasizing the fundamental right of each and every student to receive the quality education irrespective of their background. If you see, as I said it earlier also, that part 3 of the constitution talks about the fundamental right, and within part 3 of the constitution there is article 21A which talks about right to an education. So when we are talking about focus on inclusive education, this can be understood with the help of inclusivity at the core of educational practice. Right? So here NAP outlines certain measures to ensure that classrooms are not only physically accessible, but classroom should also be cognitively and culturally accommodating for all these students. Means emphasis should be placed on the creation of inclusive textbook, digital learning material, and educational softwares which are designed to be accessible by students with disability. Then holistic education. The policy promotes a holistic education model. Now, what is this holistic educational model? It includes the value, academic, social, and emotional learning equally. Means supporting the development of all rounded individuals without any kind of discrimination. Introduction of school health program, breakfast program, wellness initiatives to address the physiological needs, because physiological needs also directly impacts the learning outcome of the student, right? Then bridge programs and remedial instructions. Implementation of bridging program to help the students who have fallen behind catch up with their peers, right? So for that, remedial instruction need to be customized to meet each and every individual learning needs, because the learning need of every individual is different, and this remedial instruction is only going to help in closing the knowledge gap, right? So through these strategic measures, NAP basically aims to foster an education system where no children is left behind. We are focusing on removing barriers to education and actively promoting the conditions necessary for each and every student to thrive. And that is only going to ensure that not just educational access, but also the quality and relevance of education that respects and celebrates diversity within the students population, right? Now, what all actions need to be taken and what all actions need to be incorporated, right? So first is differentiated instructions. If I talk about differentiated instruction, is basically a teaching approach that involves customized teaching environment, right? Content, process, product to accommodate diverse learning needs and preferences of students. Right? Just let me know that, see, taking an internal assessment is mandatory for everyone. How you all take an internal assessment of the students? Is there anyone who would like to share their experiences? आप सब internal assessments कैसे लेते हैं? What is the way or what process do you opt? Is there anyone? Fine. Generally, what happened? We give a same form of assessment to the whole class, right? And then we evaluate. Do you think that is the right way? No. As we have already seen that there is a diversity on the basis of learning ability also. Some may be good in writing skills, some may be good in oratory skills, some may be good in creativity. So definitely assignment will be related with your subject only, but just make a pool of assignment. right? And leave it on the students, which includes writing research paper, giving oral presentations, PowerPoint presentation, poster making, anything, and then evaluate the students. Then you can say that you are doing justice with these students. You know, so differentiated instructions, right? This method is deeply rooted in the understanding that students vary in their abilities, learning styles, readiness level, and interest. But why this differentiated instruction matters? Why it is important? Because the importance of differentiated instruction lies in its focus on the principle of equity, ensuring that every student has an equal opportunity to succeed. It acknowledges that one size fits all approach to education does not accommodate the diverse spectrum of learners in the classroom. Right? So, by adjusting the curriculum and teaching method, teachers can create more inclusive learning environment that engage all students and support them in reaching their full potential. It will take certain examples of differentiated strategies versus flexible grouping. Right? Use flexible grouping to allow students to work in pairs, small groups, individual based on the task at hand and their learning preferences. Then is tiered assignments. Assignments are tiered according to difficulty level, but with the same core objectives, allowing students to work on tasks that reflect their comprehensive level. Right? So, in a maths class, for example, provide 3 sets of problems that require similar skills, but it vary in the complexity, ensuring that all students can engage at a level that challenges them without overwhelming them. Right? Then learning stations, different stations in the classroom focuses on different aspects of a topic or different methods of learning. So set up stations where student can engage with the material through hands-on activities, reading, audiovisual materials, and interactive discussions. Choice board should be there, right? A grid of activity options that cater to different learning modalities, visual, as I said, auditory, kinesthetic, etc. should be there. Create a choice board for, I will just take an example of history. Uh, Create a choice board for a history lesson where student can choose to write a report, create a poster, produce a podcast, or perform a role play based on some historical event. So such kind of choice boards should be formed, and that is definitely going to help, right? Then individual learning patterns should be analyzed, right? Contracts between the teacher and the student should be there because that outlines personal learning goals and the pathway to achieve them, right? So develop learning contracts with students who may need to go more in depth into a subject or who might need additional resources to catch up or further their understanding, right? So these strategies highlights a practical application of differentiated instructions in the classroom, right? Here we allow teachers to effectively meet the diverse needs of their students. So it is very easy. By integrating these techniques, educators can enhance learning outcomes. And if you try to incorporate these activities in your daily activity, I don't think so. You need to devote some extra time, and you will not feel burdensome also. So educators can enhance learning outcomes, promote student engagement, foster a supportive and inclusive educational environment. Next is inclusive assessment practices, right? The primary goal of inclusive assessment is to inform and guide instructions rather than merely to evaluate student performance, right? And this shift in perspective is very crucial for understanding the unique needs of each student, right? Identify their strength, their area for improvement, customize educational approaches to ensure that all students have the opportunity to succeed, right? So, inclusive assessments are designed to be a fair, equitable, providing valuable feedback that supports learning and development for students of all the backgrounds and abilities, right? So we'll just take few examples of inclusive assessment methods also. Portfolio first is, right? So portfolio assessment involves collecting a variety of students' work over time, which represents a range of learning activities and achievements. And portfolio allows students to demonstrate their capabilities, reflect on their learning progress, and showcase their skills in a variety of contexts, right? So this method basically provides a holistic view of students' learning and progress rather than focusing on a single point of performance. It also empowers students by involving them in the assessment process, fostering self-assessment, critical thinking skills, right? Then next you can go for the performance task. Performance tasks are real world challenges, right? That require student to apply their knowledge and skills to solve the problem. If some hypothetical situation is given to them, to create something tangible. Yes, this concept was taught in the class, how it is applicable in the given situation, right? So these tasks can vary widely but are unified by their sorry by the requirement for students to engage in thoughtful, analytical, and creative work, right? So they are particularly effective in assessing higher order thinking skills and the ability to integrate and apply knowledge across different subject areas, right? So performance tasks are also adaptable to accommodate diverse learner needs and preferences. How? Promoting equity in the assessments. Then you can opt for formative assessments, right? Formative assessments are ongoing assessments which provide continuous feedback to both student and teacher about the learning process. These can include quiz, reflecting discussions, peer reviews, informal checks for understanding, right? So formative assessment helps in identify learning gaps and instructional needs in real time, allowing teacher to adjust their teaching strategies accordingly, right? So, to effectively implement these inclusive assessment practices, educators should align assessment with learning objectives first. Second, opt for differentiated assessment methods, provide multiple opportunities, use assessments for learning, right? So, by focusing on these inclusive assessment practices, educators can create more equitable learning environment that recognize and nurture the potential of every student, right? driving educational success across diverse population. Then there is addressing physical and cognitive needs, right? So there are two things: accommodation and modification. Now, what is this accommodation? If I talk about changes that enable students to access the curriculum and demonstrate their knowledge without altering the content itself, is the accommodation, right? Examples includes extended time for test, preferred sitting, use of assisted technology. But now, what is modification? Changes that alter what is being taught to or expected from the student, right? This could involve simplifying assessments, adjusting the educational expectations to suit the student's learning need, right? So strategies for adaptive classroom environment should be there, such as flexible sitting options, accessible classroom design, right? Because we have to ensure that classrooms are wheelchair accessible, have adjustable lighting, minimal noise pollution, to cater the physical requirement of all these students, right? Even provide various sitting arrangements such as standing desk, sensory cushions, or quiet corners to accommodate physical and sensory needs, right? Second, teaching methodology should be there for the diverse learners. Means differentiated instructions, customized instruction to meet the individual needs, right? Then universal design for learning UDL, planning lessons with the needs of all students in mind from the outset, and which can include providing multiple means of representation, expression, and engagement. Then try to integrate the technologies. We always talk about the cons or the drawbacks. There are certain benefits, pros, advantages of technology if you use it in a right manner, right? So technology can significantly enhance accessibility for students with diverse learning needs by providing customized support that helps in learning, communication, and physical accessibility. Right? Then opt for assistive technology tools, software, and devices are designed to enhance the learning for students with disabilities. For example, screen readers for visually impaired students, speech to text programs for students with dyslexia or mobility issues, and augmented communication devices. N number of assistive technology tools are there. Utilization of platforms that offer adaptive learning features, such as adjust the difficulty level of task based on the student response. Right? Then interactive whiteboards and tablets, devices that allow tactile interactions and can display visual aid to enhance understanding for all these students, particularly beneficial in inclusive classroom, right? Then integrating technology effectively is a for that we need to train the teachers. Then only we'll try able to integrate technology effectively. So ensure that teachers are proficient in using these technologies, not just technically but also pedagogically. Collaborate with special educators, therapists, IT specialists to choose and implement technology that meets the wide range of needs in a diverse classrooms. Right? So by integrating thoughtful accommodation and modification alongside strategic use of technology, educators can create learning environment that address both physical as well as cognitive needs of students. And this approach not only support diverse learning needs, but also promotes a classroom culture that values and respect individual differences. Right? Now, next is supporting social and emotional development. Right? So, social emotional learning should be there. We should integrate social emotional learning into our daily teaching practices. Huh? Because social emotional learning involves teaching and facilitating skills that students need to manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationship, and make reasonable, responsible decisions. Right? So, integrating social emotional learning into daily practices is essential, not just for the students' well being, but it is also important for enhancing students' ability to succeed academically and socially both. So, what strategies we can opt? First is explicit instructions. Dedicate time each day to teach social emotional learning skills directly using age proportionate activities and discussions that help students learn about emotions, empathy, friendship, decision making, right? Incorporate such learning principles into academic content. How, for an example, discuss characters, emotional responsive in literature, or explore the social dynamics of historical events, right? Demonstrate SEL skills through your own behavior, because we teachers are also play a role of role also play a role of role model. So this includes showing empathy, practice active listening, managing your emotions visibly and constructively in the classroom, right? Then build the classroom routine that fosters social emotional learning skills, right? Such as starting the day with a check in, or having students share something positive with other peers, right? Responsive interaction should be there in the classroom. Use teachable moments to address social and emotional learning. For an example, that if conflict arises during a group activity, right, give student guide student through a process of identifying the emotions, considering perspectives, and finding a mutually agreeable solutions, right? Create an inclusive classroom climate, right? What is this inclusive classroom climate? Is one where students from all backgrounds and with all type of abilities feel safe, respected, and valued. It is a space where diversity is recognized as a strength, and where every student has the opportunity to contribute and feel connected to the process. Right? So, by implementing these strategies, teacher can significantly enhance the social and emotional development of their students while creating a classroom atmosphere that supports diversity and inclusion. Right? So, this not only benefits the individual student, but it also strengthens the social fabric of the classroom, because that will lead to a more cohesive and supportive learning environment, right? So if we're able to incorporate all these aspects, it will be easier for us. right? So how to implement guidelines in a classroom, right? How teacher can align with the NEP diversity and inclusion goal to effectively implement the NAP guidelines focused on the diversity and inclusion within the classroom settings. Educators can follow few steps such as self-assessment and awareness. Begin with self-reflection to understand personal biases and perceptions. Engage in professional development activities focused on diversity and inclusivity. Evaluate the diversity present in your classroom in terms of culture, linguistic, socioeconomic, and learning abilities, right? Integrate content that reflects a variety of cultures, histories, viewpoints to provide a more inclusive curriculum, right? Opt for the adaptive teaching materials. Modify existing teaching materials to be more inclusive using examples and case studies from diverse backgrounds, right? Then you can opt for inclusive teaching strategies, differentiated instructions, collaborative learning, right? Now, what is this collaborative learning? Foster an environment where students work in diverse groups, promoting peer learning and mutual respects, right? Then establish classroom rules and culture that celebrate the diversity and actively discourage discriminations, right? Encourage all students to share their perspectives and experiences, ensuring that each voice is heard and valued. Now, why this is important? So that no student should feel underestimated, isolated, ignored, right? Then parent and community engagement should be there. Involve parents, right? Utilize community resources to enhance understanding and support from for diversity, right? How? Invite any guest speaker from different cultural backgrounds or collaboration with any community group, right? For an example, you can opt for the guest sessions. Definitely align it with your course, but you can opt for it, right? So then professional development workshop should be there, focusing on the cultural competency, inclusive teaching practices to train the teachers, right? Now we have a number of online platform. You can see that on Coursera, edX, right? So these websites and platforms are offering courses and certificate in inclusive education and diversity training also, right? Then access to a variety of teaching helps that support diverse learning needs available through educational websites or non-profit organizations, right? Form forum and networks where teacher can share experiences, strategies, support each other in implementing inclusive practices. This should be done in an internal manner, right? So by following these practical steps in utilizing available resources, teachers can align their teaching practices with NAP diversity and inclusion goal, and then it will be very easy to create a classroom environment that is not only inclusive and equitable but also enriching for the students. And you yourself will observe that there will be an active participation of the students, improve in the academic performance, right? So such implementations guide not only supports the structural changes are needed, but also to enhance the personal development of each student. And that is reflecting in the true spirit of the NAP, right? So thank you so much. That's it from my side, right? So in last, there's a simple call for action from you all that merely having the rules, regulation, policies will never serve the purpose, right? We were having n number of rules, regulation, policies before NEP also, but where we were lacking in the implementation part. So UGC has done their task. UGC has drafted the policy. Even next step is taken in respect to the orientation and sensitization programs, right? So now ball is in the court of whom? Now the ball is in the court of us, educators, because we are only going to implement it. So there is a humble request, once you complete this course, kindly go back to your own institution and try to implement the provision of NEP for the welfare of the students. Thank you. If someone wants to ask something or they would like to say something, share their feedback or anything, most welcome. Is there anyone? No one? And no one is having doubt, at least say yes or no.
Excuse
If
me,
we
ma'am.
can, yes, yes, ma'am.
I'm really impressed by the issues what you took up, ma'am, especially about the learning gaps and all. I think first time I've seen someone discussing about the learning gaps in the sessions. So I think that was a beautiful session, ma'am. Excellent
Thank you,
teaching
ma'am.
by you. Really excellent.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words. Anyone else? Okay. So if no one is having any doubt and no one want to say anything, let's conclude this session. So in last, all the best to each and every participant for the future endeavor and all the best for the test which is going to take place to secure
Charlie.
the certificates.
Yes.
Right? So all the best. Take care.
अपन फेस्ट का बेनिफिट है कितना हाँ I'm doing it. Happy day दे रहे लाइट को बंद रखा है मिश्रा जी की वजह से वो बोले जब मैं आऊंगा तब चालू कर वो अगर गया उधर आया नहीं तो फिर मत थोड़ा गया तो उसका कोई गारंटी नहीं आजकल वो भूषण को भेजा था 20 रुपए देने के लिए उसका
क्या है होस्ट
मैं कहा जाने का 10 मिनट कुछ अंबाई तक जायचं
41 झाले पोचता
हम्म?
पोचता 50 होते
हाँ
जाऊया 10 मिनिटाचा काय पोचता पोचता 50 होते
ऑर्गनायझरनं आणखी काही कमेंट केली नाही त्याच्यामुळे थांबा थोडस राफे सर can you we leave the meeting
ते दोन आले बघ सर
त्याच्या भीती ध्वनी वाटते बरीच ध्वनी वाटते हा एकदम भंगार वाटते
एकदम भांगार माझ्या समोर झाले
यांचं सगळं
परत करणार तुम्हाला काल हे अजून वीक करून टाकतील
आता तेच झालं.
जास्त हे करू नका लग्न व्हायचे बाकी बाबा आहे ना असे गोल गोल फिरवतील
गाडी येते.
लोकांच्या गाडी त्याची गाडी आहे ना ट्रॅक्टर मध्ये बसले होते माणूस पेन्शन वगैरे काय नाही वाईट यूज करून बोला तुझा आवाज येतो आली येत गाव गाड्या काय टपरीवर व्यवस्था केलेली पाण्याची तिथं नाव सांगायचं राजेशचे पाहुणे राजेश हा खरंच ना आणखी न चालू आता पाणी खाऊन ना जेवण दिले पाहते ते फक्त नाव सांगायचं राजेशचे पाहुणे आलं की नाही आम्ही जेवण खाऊन
मग आम्ही लक्ष
एवढं चांगला माणूस शिकारी निघाला का नाही आता काही ना
प्रयत्न